This program is paid for by Innovative Medical Associates. All opinions or statements expressed on the program are solely those of Innovative Medical Associates or their guests and do not reflect the opinions of WPH.D or Odyssey.
Talk Radio 1210 WPH.D, WPH.D HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. Now, Health Watch. Featuring Dr. Molly FANTASIA, the PhD doctor and founder of Innovative Medical Associates, with valuable information that could help you improve your quality of life. Now, Health Watch.
The question is, do we remember how to do this, Dr.
I
Molly?
think we do, John.
Okay.
I think we do.
We'll try to struggle through this.
Yeah, I think we do.
Our first live show in a while. Good morning and welcome to another edition of Health Watch here every Sunday, 8 till 9 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. I'm your host, John DeMasi, with the one and only Dr. Molly FANTASIA, as the man said, the PhD doctor, the executive director, and the founder of Innovative Medical Associates, located in Marlton, New Jersey. We'll talk about the who, what, when, where, why, and how of Innovative Medical Associates and how potentially it can help you improve, you and your family, improve your quality of life. And we'll do that right here on the program till 9 o'clock this morning. 855-839-1210 is the number here in the studio. 855-839-1210. We trust that you had a good Thanksgiving, and we all had a good Thanksgiving.
I hope so, John. Well, see, you're a world-class traveler now, man. He's back from Europe, so he's... he caught one of those colds, and from what? Recirculating air, being stuck out there, God bless him, and being packed in like sardines through the holidays.
Yeah.
You know the drill.
Well, it was the Eiffel Tower that did me in.
There you go, man.
It was so cold up there. It was
well, let me tell you something. If you have to be done in by something, I like it to be the Eiffel Tower rather than something else.
Right.
Okay.
Let's talk about Innovative Medical
Sure.
Associates. What do you do, and how is it different from other facilities?
Well, first of all, let's start with the fact that we are a group of like-minded healthcare providers. We all work out of our licensed primary care facility in Marlton, New Jersey. So we can do anything that you can do from your regular GP. You go in, you talk to the doc, you have a problem, you get a script, you get out, whatever. Well, we do it a little differently, but we can do that too. If you need a script, you can get a script. If you need radiology, you can get radiology. But what we like to do is we like to focus in on using natural substances to help improve your quality of life and possibly improve the outcome of your particular medical condition that drove you to the doc in the first place.
This is really appropriate because I know I've done this many, many times. But we go to the situation of what I'm trying to say is we're trying to
you go to the regular doc, and you know what you leave with.
Gives you a pill,
right?
And
you're done.
And you're done. But this is different.
Of course it's different. What we want to do is we want to use the natural substances. And so the kinds of things you might find in the health food store. But again, what we're going to do is we're going to deliver these through medical hydration. And why do we use medical hydration? In the most part. Now, look, we also give you nutritional supplements orally as well. But we like to get a handle on your condition by utilizing the medical hydration because it's a more direct hit to the cells that need to be refreshed, replenished, whatever we need to do to translate into helping the patient through their immediate problem and then hopefully in the long haul too.
Does this work?
Oh, it does. It does. And we have the proof. We can show people who've improved their cardiac output. People have improved their cholesterol. People who are doing conventional treatments for cancer, they tend to get through those treatments a lot better. We also can help people with autoimmune conditions. And overall, our focus is always on quality of life for each individual patient, as well as the individual patients really challenge that brought them to us. And remember, we treat everybody as an individual. We're not a spa, guys. I want to say that right out loud. We're not a spa. It isn't that I don't want you all to look good on the outside. I do. But it's what's going on the inside that may be contributing to your lack of quality in your life.
Can you show people the data?
Oh yeah, we do blood work. We send out to we actually use one of the laboratory people have one of their draw sites right in our facility. So yes, and that's third party draw. So that is the way it is. We'll send you out for radiology. We can improve. Well, I'll tell you one thing right now. I just sent a patient of mine who I have to say has been non-compliant. He was doing very well with me several years ago. History of cardiac. He actually dates one of my techs, my chief tech, lovely Linda, and I just sent him out for a calcium score, which is a radiology that gives me a score of calcium buildup, both inside, outside the cardiac area. His score was 100 times worse than when he was with me, okay, when he was doing what he had to do, which tells you that for some people, this has to become something of what you would do with your primary. You would go into your primary maybe once a month, once every 6 weeks. You might want to renew your medication. You got to look at this as lifestyle changes too. So it isn't holy water. But I'll tell you, I think in 3 months, I'm going to have this guy back to where he was 15 years ago.
Managing expectations is one of the things that you have to do
every day.
How do you navigate that?
Well, I try my best to show people that, again, this isn't holy water. It can't be done in many times. Many times we can get the expectation you want in as little as 5 weeks, depending on when you come in. Obviously, the earlier you come in with your challenge, the better outcome we're going to have and quicker. However, when you let 15 years go by from the last time I saw you, what are you going to have?
Yeah.
We're going to have we got the kitchen sink there, right? We've got to address, not just the calcium buildup, but why does he have it? What's going on with the blood sugar, et cetera. So again, everything is going to be codependent on the patient and how soon they get back to me and how compliant they are with the lifestyle changes.
We were talking about managing expectations.
Yes.
And when it comes to that, how can people expect maybe to get this treatment
to work? Yeah, sure, John. Well, one of the ways we can do this is by actually looking at the data. So if we're trying to resolve lipid problems, we might want to run their lipids every 4 to 6 weeks. If we're trying to look at cardiac output, we might want to run an echo every 6 months. So there are various ways to really look at this, and what I want to do is I use blood work and talking to the patient. We want to know where the patient starts, how can we move the patient along, and at what point have we done what we can to show them that they're improving. But I'm going to tell you, the most important way people really tell me, they come in and say, I feel better. And I say, how? I can run longer. I can, jump higher. No, but seriously, they'll say, I have less fatigue. I have less dizziness. Whatever the underlying challenges were, that's what's going on. So there you are.
Yeah, I was away, and I knew I didn't get the treatments for a couple of weeks.
Oh, I knew.
And I knew, I just had a feeling I was going to get sick.
Yeah, but I also told you before you left that, listen, I've been there. I've been to Italy several times, and there's a lot of walking. And with your history, look, John, you're almost post-stroke, only, about a year and a couple months?
Yeah.
Okay, come on. That is... You've done very well, but now you got to get back in the saddle because I'm concerned, and I can see it. The fact that your immune system went down. We need to really look at that, and that's not unusual. I'm not saying this to make people fearful, but as we get older and we have more stress in our life, and we have more things that we're just, especially this time of year. Oh, John, this time of year, what I see. People are really pulling their hair out. Everything has to get done, whether it's with the grandchildren. My job is I want you to have enough energy to do everything you want and maybe have an overabundance of energy.
Now, back to expectations.
Yes.
So in the case of, let's just say, cardiac.
Right.
A patient comes in to see
Sure.
you. How long can they expect to see you?
Depending on where they are in their own particular journey, between 5 weeks, 15 weeks, maybe 30 weeks. Sometimes certain protocols may take 40 treatments. And again, I'm looking at this as once a week. once a week, and it depends on the patient and what we're delivering. So again, a guy who has a calcium score in the thousands, he's going to take 40 treatments or 50 treatments to get it done. But somebody who comes in and they have a calcium score in the normal range, well, they come in just for the tune-up, they're going to be fine in 5 weeks. So, it depends on where you are in your continuum and what the underlying condition is that we're trying to help you with and improve your quality of life.
Is there such a thing as maintenance? After
Right. That's what everybody should be doing. They should be doing a maintenance. And again, that's going to depend on you. One thing I tell everybody, look, guys, I'm not out to spend your money, but you will know when you need to come back in, whether that's once a month, twice a month, maybe once every 3 months. I have people coming in once every 3 months. I have some people coming in once every 4 months. I also have people come in once a week regardless because they need it. They themselves know they need it.
Well, I know I need it.
Well, right now, I know you need it too today.
So,
I can see how fatigued you are.
Yes. So we're coming up on our first break of the morning. It is Health Watch every Sunday, 8 till 9 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. I'm your host, John DeMasi, with Dr. Molly Fantasia. She is the PhD doctor, the executive director, and the founder of Innovative Medical Associates located in Marlton, New Jersey. If you have a question or you have a medical challenge you want to run by Dr. Molly, 855-839-1210 is the number, 855-839-1210. You know what we always say, call early so we can be sure we can get your call in and really talk to you and try to help you with your problem. 855-839-1210. With Dr. Molly, I'm John DeMasi. We both are returning after these words. We are back here on Health Watch, and as always, operators standing by at Innovative Medical Associates. If you would like to set up an appointment with Dr. Molly, you want to call them right now, 856-489-0505, 856-489-0505. If you're bashful and you don't want to come on the radio, that's okay. You can call the operators. They'll answer any questions that you have. And certainly, that's what you got to do, is make that appointment to sit down with Dr. Molly, get that initial consultation, which is complimentary, and you'll find out a lot about what she can do for you and what your condition is, and so on. 856-489-0505. And the website, innovativemedicalassociates.com. InnovativeMedicalAssociates.com is the website. Our show is Health Watch every Sunday, 8 till 9 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. We're going to go to the phones and talk to John in Mount Laurel. John, good morning.
Hey,
welcome.
Hey, John. Watch. It's John the barber,
morning,
who's also Hey, guy, it's good to hear from you. What's up, John?
Welcome home from Italy, John.
Thank you.
The homeland,
well,
John.
Yeah, as you know, I've been battling this allergy rash that I've been having since August, and we've tried everything. And well, what it's come down to now is I was allergic to a medication that I was taking for my heart. They believe that's what it was. I've researched it, and it's one of the worst for rashes.
You know what, John?
Come to find out.
When you came in to just talk to me this week, I, of course, said to you, look, let's think back. When did it start? And you immediately said that. And I appreciate that you do the research. That's what I love about my patients. They don't just sit around and let things happen to them. Good, John.
No, but I'll tell you now, I haven't had infusion now for 3 weeks because where I get my infusion, my arms were covered with this rash, and I didn't want to. I mean, it was my choice, not you. Didn't seem to agree with.
I thought that was
my choice.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you the truth. I don't feel like I had my allergies are worse. My acid reflux is worse. I'm more tired. It's just it's amazing. It is amazing when I get that every week. It just keeps. I haven't had allergies for 4 years.
Right.
And now with just this 3 weeks at this time of season of the year, this stuff is coming out. It really is. It's unbelievable the difference that it makes.
Oh, John, thank you for that. And, listen, we miss the heck out of you. You know that. So you just take care of this.
You're all great. You're all great to me. You really are. The whole bunch over there.
Thank you.
It's nice to everybody, not just me. It's just a good group. And I'll be back in shortly.
I know, John.
It looks like this is getting under control.
Thank
God. What I'm concerned about, they got me on steroids.
Right.
I've gained almost 8 pounds.
Right.
It's unbelievable. My legs are holding water. I'm going to double up on my water pill. It's one thing after another. It really is. When you start taking that medicine, I hate it. I really hate it. And the steroids that I'm on, they're not good. They screw up your whole immune system. You don't know what it's doing to you. You really don't.
You know what, John?
I had no choice. I tried everything else.
Look. You know what I always say. Look, when you need your conventional, you got to get it. Okay, you got to do it. But I tell you, when you get back, we're going to just tune you up. And if you can get a shot, John, in some area of your body that isn't covered with this rash, I think I'd love to do something to just move your lymph nodes around. Move the lymphatic system, help you drain that water in addition to your LASIK. So don't hesitate to stop in if you're up to it, John.
Yeah,
you know that?
I think I'll probably come in this Wednesday.
Good. We'll give you a shot at least. Just a shot, so we're not disturbing the rest of this. But I think we can help a little bit.
Well, my arm is pretty well cleared up now.
Oh, good.
And I still have spots on my back that are rough.
Boy.
I had stuff on my back. I look like bumps all over. It just was unreal. It really was.
It was terrible, John.
Yeah.
It was terrible. It was terrible, my
friend. All right, listen, I'll let you guys go. You have a good week. And
you too.
You
too, John.
God bless you. We'll see you. We'll see you this week. God bless.
You know what I got out of that call?
What?
Like me, he missed a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
You don't feel good.
Exactly.
He doesn't.
Exactly.
So that's
well, because the reserve goes down. Remember, when your body is fighting a condition, the body goes into an overdrive. So everything is moving around. You have inflammation. Inflammation, I tell you, can be the devil. And in his case, it's a very interesting case because he went to many, many docs. And, we did what we could. And I said, something is causing this. And when you look at all the medications and you look at the side effects, somebody who's more susceptible to a skin disorder or rashes or those kinds of things, this particular pill he was on, I don't understand what his cardiologist was thinking. And when you really place, actually, you all hear John, the pharmacist who calls me,
yes.
Nice guy, great guy. We had a conversation this past week because, and actually, John, if you're listening, I didn't forget you. I've been so busy. I tracked down the powder that you're looking for your mother. So I'm going to try to talk to you tomorrow when I have a little time. But on a side note, John and I were talking about this in terms of the pharmacists knowing that these things cause some of these rashes, and they really want to get in it. But of course, they have problems with the physician. So same old. But let me tell you, the doctors of pharmacy know what they're doing. You always hear me. I love my compounding pharmacists.
That's right. All right, 855-839-1210. That's our number here in the studio, 855-839-1210. I want to talk about a patient, another interesting and complicated case.
Lester is his name, yes. He came into me, and clearly he was emaciated, John. Everybody in the clinic knew it. I mean, he's a 30-some-year-old guy. He was bone thin.
Oh, yeah, I saw
I mean, everybody saw him. I mean, he looked pretty bad. So I got a copy of his record. He came in from out of town, by the way. This was some of the people that traveled in from Indiana. And, knowing his genetics, I knew that he could have all kinds of issues. But really, the overwhelming thing that leaped out at me was the seriousness of his malnutrition. And unfortunately, in the conventional world, when we look at malnutrition, we mostly look at that a lot, most of the times with kids, right? You talk about the kids' malnutrition, whether it's genetic or whatever. But fundamentally, this guy had malnutrition. Now, why he had the malnutrition was what really resonated with me, and it was something that I really wanted to dig into. But in the meantime, what do I have to treat first? The malnutrition.
Right.
The guy was a mess. So, when you look at malnutrition as a conventional way, you're looking at the body not getting enough of the nutrients it needs. So people look at it deficient in calories, right? Sugars, proteins, fats, and vitamins and minerals. But I look at it on a micro level. I'm looking at the micronutrients we need that you don't get if you don't get any of those nutritional supplements, whether we want to call it from food, whatever. But if you don't get the macro, you're certainly not going to get the micro. So these are one of the things. And when I look at malnutrition, I look at the cause. Can it be an inadequate diet? Many times it's not. Certainly not in this country. We don't think of us having an inadequate diet, right? What we generally have is we have a diet that is most unfortunately adulterated with all kinds of stuff, and we all know this, whether it comes right down to the wash we use on the vegetables because we're eating organically, but the wash is no good. I mean, we can go on and on and on. But the bottom line is I also look at it as an autoimmune disease, and that's a very unique way to look at it. Most physicians don't do this. As a scientist, I look at that. Because what happens is it can be from a GI issue, which something like Crohn's, that's an autoimmune disorder, an inflammation. I look at inflammation, John. But you know what else? It can come from something like lupus. I have several lupus patients in my clinic right now, and they too can be suffering from a micro deficiency. So you may have what you think is a normal weight. This guy just absolutely looked like the skeleton that he is, right? But how about you and I and people we see, well, we look normal, but we still may be malnourished in the micronutrients, okay?
And how do we know that?
Well,
and how do we
solve
that?
Well, one of the things we got to look like is it may be, quote unquote, a mild form of malnutrition, right? You may experience gradual problems over the course of some time, right? So, fatigue, moodiness, depression, irritability. Who puts that together with looking at the micronutrients? Someone like me definitely does. Weight loss, dizziness, weakened immune system. I look for that all the time. Disruptions of the hormonal cascading. Believe it or not, women have a big problem with that because of the micronutrients and the cofactors they need to support the hormonal levels we need. So wound care. How about wounds? They won't heal without enough protein and the enzymatics that we need. So what we need to do is we look at all of this. And what do? I look for inflammation. One of the first things I did on this young man was I ran all his pro-inflammation mediators. You hear me talk about these all the time. The interleukins and the cytokines that really are involved in our white blood cells, etc., that really have problems. I look for gut dysbiosis. If you have leaky gut, do you think you might lose your micronutrients? You're darn right you will. You're darn right. So we need to look at all of these things. And how do I do it? Lab work. I look at the lab work, some specialized lab work that will measure what you need intercellularly. Okay, get that? Okay, because I'm looking at helping you with your mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell. So I'm not looking just to give you back protein because we need protein for, energy, etc. I'm looking at giving you the protein breakdowns. In other words, I'm looking at proteins and what they do to the amino acids you need. It's sort of complex.
Stuff. Yes.
It's complex,
very,
John.
Very complex.
It's complex.
We are at the halfway point of the show, which means you still have plenty of time to call in. It's Dr. Molly if you have a question or a medical challenge. 855-839-1210. That's the number here in the studio. 855-839-1210. It is Health Watch every Sunday, 8 till 9, here on Talk Radio 1210, WPHD. Dr. Molly Fantasia is here, the PhD doctor, the executive director, and the founder of Innovative Medical Associates, located in Marlton, New Jersey. I'm your host, John DeMasi. Dr. Molly and I will return with more of today's Health Watch right after these words. We are back here on Health Watch, and again, operators standing by at Innovative Medical Associates. The number, 856-489-0505, and probably want to write that down, okay? 856-489-0505. Operators standing by. They'll answer any questions. But most importantly, what you want to do is schedule an appointment with Dr. Molly for the initial consultation. It is complimentary, and you'll find out a lot about what she can do for you. 856-489-0505. A lot of good information on the website, innovativemedicalassociates.com. Innovativemedicalassociates.com is the website. It is Health Watch, our live version here every Sunday, 8 till 9, here on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT. The number here in the studio, 855-839-1210. If you have a question for Dr. Molly, we're picking up that
discussion on Lester.
Yes.
Yeah. So let me just say this. So what I'm saying is the identifying malnutrition isn't always clear cut, because the physical exam might give us some indication that you have malnutrition. But it's really what I'm looking for is nutritional deficiencies on the micro level and what causes them. So in the case of Lester, I mean, he was a mess. Running his interleukins and his cytokine panels, you could see his inflammation markers were insanely off the charts. So he didn't have a history of looking back of particular markers that we would run, let's say for lupus or for MS or for any, all of those markers were negative. In the history, in combing his chart, I realized he was treated 4 times for H. pylori, which means that gastrically he couldn't, digest his food. But I started to think, how many times is this guy going to have an IV of antibiotic and take the oral antibiotics that are necessary for the H. pylori? So I really wanted to go and look one step further. There are other bacteria that are in the soil and in the food, and in particular in various areas of the country, including our own, by the way.
Yes.
But this, I looked for things that were in his area, which happened to be in Indiana, okay? And I started looking at that. And then I started looking at some other things. But he did test positive for a particular bacteria, which is long name, doesn't mean anything. It can be treated with the proper antibiotic. And, of course, I'm treating it with the proper antibiotic. And I'm hoping that that is one of the things he has that has been giving him problem, because gut dysbiosis means you can take in all the calories you want. Right? If you're not breaking it down to the micronutrients, what do you get? Nothing, right? Nothing. Think about that. Can somebody who looks normal, a normal weight, not too overweight or anything, but a normal weight, could they be malnourished nutritionally on the micronutrients? The answer to that is yes. Yes. And so there are specialized testing out there that we do that actually measures the nutrients that you are deficient in. And by the way, conventionally, physicians do this all the time. That's why they measure your vitamin D level, right? And how do we repair that? Well, they like to give you a prescription for vitamin D. We like to give you the real D3, and we can give you a shot of a real D3 in olive oil. So we look at giving you God's ingredients, but it's really the same mindset in that we know the deficiencies are on the micro level. And I want to tell people out there, it's interesting because we do this for children many times because we're cognizant of this. And we think that this problem is a third world problem. But this is happening right in our own backyard to people you and I know, and I have a clinic full of them who have deficiencies in certain micronutrients. And getting to the reason why they do can encompass a whole lot of things, like autoimmune. Inflammation is not our friend. Right? Inflammation is
You
not
said
our
that
friend.
on every show.
So there are at least 140 citations out there about malnutrition and autoimmune problems in the adult population.
You know, I'm listening to all of this, and I'm wondering, and I guess a lot of people are wondering, how did this gentleman, Lester, how did he get this way?
I would say he got this way because he was overtreated for H. pylori. He probably tested positive for H. pylori at one portion. And then I think that they completely ignored doing the testing for other bacteria that can also cause bleeding, ulcers, gastric problems, dysbiosis in your microbiome in the gut, and leaky gut. So they didn't look at any of that. And plus, he did have some symptomatology for rheumatoid arthritis, which of course is a autoimmune disorder. So the inflammation is there, and the body responds to these inflammation markers in certain ways. But if he can't digest, he may be eating. He wasn't eating when he got to me, for sure. I mean, he had true malnutrition because he stopped eating. Why? His gut was bothering him, right? He just couldn't eat. So if you don't get to the underlying problem there, the Crohn's, etc., can he eat? No. So one of the other things we did is we used what? LDN in this case, because we know it works for the Crohn's disorders and the GI issues. So we put them on a microdose, subclinical dose. Again, what do? Repurposed meds. So in a case like his, we're not just looking at saying, okay, we're just going to load him up with the nutrients. But I will tell you that the medical hydration turned him around in probably 4 to 5 weeks. So I would say he's more than he's more than stable. But he had to come in like that. He came in 2-week stretches at a time, right? Right. He did 1 week, one time visit. Then he did 2-week visits. He just wrapped up this week. But I believe he's going to have to come back in about 3 months for an additional treatment because, again, I'm also looking and evaluating all the tests we did to see if we have some other autoimmune issues that are going on that are robbing him of the micronutrients that can be causing some of his other problems.
Now, what can he do in the meantime?
Well, that's a good question. Well, of course, we let him leave with vitamins, minerals, but a very succinct group of those. You know, we're very fussy about what you take orally.
I know.
Right? And in a case like him, we have to realize that given his microbiome and his gut, he's not going to do well with the oral. So we wanted to do as much as we could compounded, which we did. And we wanted to make sure that we give him enough injectable, which we did. We sent him home with some things. And I'm hoping that, and the fact that Barbara spent a lot of time with him about dietary considerations, I'm hoping that we can keep him well enough to keep him away from me again for about 3 to 4 months. And then we can retest before he gets back here. Look at what we're doing. We also put him on, again, the subclinical dose of the LDN that we need to help hold down some of the inflammation and fill up the receptors. So this is a real challenge, is what I'm saying, John. And it has to do with lifestyle, which you do outside of the clinic, and the things we do, too.
Does he have to change his lifestyle?
A little bit, yeah. Plus, he's a worrywart, so, we had to show him some techniques to calm down. But I don't blame him because what's happening is, from my perspective, he developed neurodegenerative type problems based on the fact that he wasn't getting enough of the nutrients that we need to support the brain health. So, this is a complex case that we have to hit the systems, each system. The neurodegenerative, he needed to relax. We needed to put him on some special B vitamins as well to calm him down, and certain amino acids, neuroamino acids, to help that also to bring up the serotonin levels. So you see, in other words, the micronutrients that we need to operate our system is very complex. It affects us from head to toe.
So he'll be lifelong patient?
I think he's going to be certainly going to be coming back for tune-ups, I think, for quite a while. Yes.
Join the club.
That's right.
Lifelong patient.
And
here.
yet, he's a young guy. You know what I mean? I'm hoping that we can soon, at some point, once we really tackle all the hidden deficiencies, the micro deficiencies, and look at the potential of some of the other inflammation markers, we're going to be able to tune him up so he doesn't have to come back till maybe twice a year. But remember, he's only 30 years old. I mean,
he's a baby.
That's right. That is right. So, I mean, when we look at these things and we cite these disorders, you've got to believe that we're looking at inflammation again, inflammation and subsets of autoimmune conditions that can cause this malnutrition or micronutrition.
Is there anything that he did before in his diet that caused this?
Well, I think the diet might have had something to do with it because he always had what I would consider leaky gut and chronic inflammation in the GI tract, and probably had Crohn's. I mean, legitimate Crohn's, although the testing didn't bear that out. But I think the fact that he was treated with so many rounds of antibiotic to treat H. pylori, which I believe he had because he tested positive for the H. pylori. But I think he had some other bacteria in addition to that was disrupting the microbiome. Take the antibiotic that's disruptive to the microbiome, and then you're not taking the right probiotics. You're not taking food enzymes you need to break the food down. You imagine the mess. So you've just recreated more of a mess, is what I'm saying, by not treating this holistically.
Okay, we are coming up on our final break of the morning, which means you still have time to call in with a question or a medical challenge that you want to run by Dr. Molly. 855-839-1210 is the number here in the studio, 855-839-1210. It's Health Watch every Sunday, the live version, 8 till 9 here on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT. I'm your host, John DeMasi, with Dr. Molly Fantasia, the PhD doctor, the executive director, and the founder of Innovative Medical Associates, located in Marlton, New Jersey. Dr. Molly and I return with more of today's Health Watch after these words. We are back here on Health Watch. Operators standing by right now at Innovative Medical Associates. The number, 856-489-0505. I suggest you write it down because, you say, I'm going to call later on. And you call later on, but you don't remember the number. So write it down, 856-489-0505. It's Innovative Medical Associates, Marlton, New Jersey. And what you want to do is book the initial consultation with Dr. Molly. It doesn't cost you anything, but you will learn a lot about what she does and how she can do something potentially to help you and your family improve your quality of life. 856-489-0505. And the website, innovativemedicalassociates.com. Innovativemedicalassociates.com is the website. It's Health Watch here, the live version on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT. We're going to go to the phones. We're talking to Greg in Magnolia. Greg, good morning. You're on Health Watch with Dr. Molly.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, good morning, Doc. How are you?
Good, and I hope you're having a good holiday, my friend.
It's fantastic, actually. So here's my problem. I've been in the hospital, every hospital in South Jersey. Oh, geez, at least 3 or 4 times. I have a stomach problem right underneath my left ribs.
Okay.
It's excruciatingly painful, and I've had 5 upper and lower GIs. I've seen umpteen different doctors, and nobody knows what it is.
Mm-hmm. Have they tested for bacteria? Have they tested for, do stool tests or anything?
Yes, they did. Kennedy did. Kennedy is where you go to die. But yes, they did.
You said, hey, Greg, now you said that, not Dr. Molly, right?
I
love you. I do love you.
Me.
Yeah, but listen, so they did do the stool test. So do you have all that information? I mean, do you have could we get that stuff secured? You ought to come in and see me. Yeah, because. Yeah, I'm going to tell you, I find that very interesting because sometimes it's an obscure thing. And, it just may be something to do with, whatever the microbiome there. And maybe you're just not getting enough. Do you take probiotics at your meals?
Yes.
And do you take enzymes?
I don't know. I don't think so. No.
You don't think? Well, if you come in and talk to me, will you? And I'd like to get the records because I think you're the kind of archaeology.
I have them. They're at least an inch thick.
Oh, so what? That's okay. You know, if I can't get through them right on our visit, what I do is I keep them and then I call you back. But
and that's fine.
Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, sir.
I would love to.
All right.
So what happened was, what I think happened was I was in an accident in LBI.
Oh, okay.
And some poor girl slammed into me doing 45 miles an hour head on.
Oh, my God.
And I hit my brakes. And needs to say, when you hit your brakes in the rain, you speed up. So I bent my wheel.
Yeah.
I messed up my hip, and the belt wrapped around my stomach. And I believe that belt has something to do with it because I had a welt on my stomach for like 3 weeks.
Listen, you're talking my language. Trauma. I believe everything can start with trauma because it starts what? It starts the inflammation process that can get out of control. Oh, bring this stuff for you, Greg. You sound like a kind of guy I'd love to work with.
I most certainly will, Doc.
God bless you, my
friend. All right, set up that appointment.
Set it up. That's
Thanks a lot, Greg.
Interesting case.
Thanks for the call.
Do we have another call?
Yes, we do. We have Frank in the Northeast.
Oh,
Frank's
on. Hey, Frank.
Welcome back, Dr. Molly and John. Your well-earned, deserved vacation. Now you guys are going to go from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., right?
Yeah, right.
Believe me, that's true. That's true.
Hey, nurses do 12-hour shifts.
Pardon me?
Nurses do 12-hour shifts, so we can do Dr. Molly and John can work 8
days.
Well, you know, hey, Frank, you should know that we do more than 12-hour shifts when we need to.
I know. I'm saying
what's going on? How you doing?
Well,
how you doing?
I have a question for you, but before I do, I heard Greg. I didn't. What about oil of oregano? Instead of taking probiotics over the counter like kimchi or sauerkraut.
Well, I think that's fine. I don't have a problem with that, but sometimes people need a little more boost. I would love to see the actual data of what happened and how they treated him. So look, I don't have a problem with that, but some people need more than just that, Frank.
Well, you're the right person. We all know that. You're the best from coast to coast.
I agree with you, though. Seriously, I agree with you. But again, you know, if you can't digest it, guess what? You're not going to get enough of the particular constituents we need. See, somebody like you is smart. You understand that. So how much of the stuff can you take? You know what I mean? Same old.
Right.
Yeah.
But comment question. 2 weeks ago, you had a lady on, Dr. Tamara Carr.
Yes. She's a great guest.
She was wonderful. I never heard her before. Yeah. That book she has, Our Journey with Food.
Yes.
I wish I could talk to her. She was great. But my question, Dr. Molly, last week I went to Holly Hill. I got not curcumin, it's called curamin. Kind of the same thing. It comes from turmeric. I got it from my mother for her rheumatoid arthritis, but she don't want to take it. So I took it myself.
Okay.
With my neuropathy. Not expecting anything. I saw fantastic results. But then by day 3, I woke up, I felt great. My plateletness was 80% better. Then later that day, when something works for me, why does it stop working? And all of a sudden, not the placebo effect, but I didn't buy it from me. I didn't think about it. I think it's the autoimmune attacking is going in.
I believe for you, Frank, it's purely the autoimmune cycle and the circadian rhythm. The thing is, that's why I believe we use curcumin and we use cumin. We use the extract IV. It seems to hold for people with the neuropathies for the most part. But again, if the particular reserve goes down for any reason, then it starts all over. So you're not unique in that. I mean, the question always goes back to how much and where's your reserve. So, you're very attuned to that. So possibly the problem is, too, taking it orally, you may not be able to take as much to get the reserve back up. So that's something we can chat about off the air.
Okay. And welcome back again, Dr. Molly and John.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Thanks, Frank.
God
you
bless.
too.
Thank you. Thank you.
We got about 2 minutes, and I know you wanted to talk about this 22-month-old child.
Yeah, this is an interesting thing because it's from the same family as the young man. And,
This is Lester's child.
No, it's not Lester's child, but a nephew.
Okay.
But this is interesting because they put a feeding tube in because he tested that he has a genetic propensity for certain enzymes that he cannot make, that, inherently we make. And so, of course, the child is undernourished, which is why the group of folks think that it doesn't affect adults. But it goes back to the fact of what I say all the time, which is you can have a subset of this. So this is one of the things I'm waiting on is Lester's genetic testing to come back because I want to look at that enzymatic pattern. And what happens is somebody at 22 months may not be able to digest all the amino acids they need and the cofactors they need to put on the weight, etc. But they're giving this family no hope. And what I suggest, they're only going to a regional hospital out where they live. What I'm suggesting is they sent the records to us. We're going to look at the records. I want to evaluate the records along with my physicians and possibly get them to the expert in this disorder. It's a certain disorder that I believe she has, or the patient has, and see if someone at the Children's Hospital will take the case on. But we need to review the records first because they're not really getting good primary or pediatric care. That's my point of that case.
And with that, we are going to put the wraps on another edition of Health Watch. Don't forget, operators are standing by at Innovative Medical Associates. 856-489-0505 is the number. 856-489-0505. And don't forget, if you missed any of today's show, you can hear it again this afternoon, our Health Watch replay from 4 until 5 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPH.D. For Dr. Molly Fantasia and everyone at Innovative Medical Associates, the lovely Linda, and our nursing staff, Barbara, Lana, Donna, Vicky, and Daniel. And then, of course, there's Joanne, fabulous Fran, delightful Dee, and our medical assistant, Sandra. I'm your host, John DeMasi. Thanks for listening. Have yourself a great week, a safe, a happy, and a healthy one. We'll talk to you next Sunday, Health Watch 8 till 9, here on Talk Radio 1210 WPH.D. You take care.
This program is paid for by Innovative Medical Associates. All opinions or statements expressed on the program are solely those of Innovative Medical Associates or their guests and do not reflect the opinions of WPH.D or Odyssey.